Welcome to Defending Your Finances. I'm Dean, and my wife and I, we run an independent investment advisory firm which focuses primarily on serving our clients with their financial planning, investment planning, and insurance planning. Over my 20-year career in the financial services industry, I've worked for a bank, a home lending mortgage company, a large insurance company, and this was all before forming last year our privately owned independent advisory firm. I wanted to highlight my experience in my past because over the next few episodes, I'm going to show you the ins and outs on how these industries operate, how they make their money, why they push the products they push, how the salespeople in these industries get paid, and finally, what this all means for you, the consumer or the client. Let's see. So, where should I start? Well, let's just start here. When you work with a financial planning company, it makes a difference who you choose to work with and who you choose to trust. It ultimately will mean one thing or another for your financial future. It'll either be a good thing or it'll be a bad thing. And it's my conviction that everybody should know exactly what they're getting themselves into before they have a conversation with anybody from one of these institutions. Well, let's just say this. Each institution has a pitch or a product or some sort of motive. They have a bias to one product or another, and they're going to use this pitch to make their product seem great for everybody, regardless of whether or not it's great for you. And as a consumer of these financial products, you have to always be aware of the undiluted truth behind each person's pitch. I mean, I'm sure you must be thinking, what makes you any different from maybe someone else that I can or can't trust? Have you ever seen that movie? I forgot what it's called, but it has Denzel Washington. He plays a pilot, and this pilot has a severe substance abuse problem. He drinks a lot. He uses other, unmentionable drugs. He just had a hard life, and he is a heavy abuser of substances, and he drinks while piloting a plane in this particular movie. And unfortunately, while he's drinking and flying this plane, there's a mechanical breakdown or some sort of faulty elevator mechanism on this plane, and it causes the plane to go into an inverted flight where it's flying upside down. And he's an amazing pilot. He manages to pull everybody out of this and, helps all these people to survive. But what happens is he gets knocked out, down to the hospital. They take his blood test and they see his blood alcohol level is through the roof. So now all of a sudden he's under the microscope. And the whole movie is about him kind of lying his way through these hearings and talking to the FAA and giving all these speeches about how he's this upstanding pilot and upstanding guy and he didn't do anything wrong. And he basically is lying through the whole movie to cover up the fact that he was drunk when he was flying this airplane. And at the end of the movie, at the last hearing, and spoiler alert, sorry if you haven't seen the movie, but the last hearing that could set him free, he could walk away from this whole thing and be done with it, leave everything behind him, keep his good name and outstanding record. He has a breakdown, and he just says, I did it. He admits to it, and he admits that his whole life and this whole thing was just a big facade. And while he's serving time in jail, he's asked, why didn't you lie? Why didn't you carry on just this one more story so that, you could be set free? And he said, I felt like I've reached the end or my limit of lies in a lifetime, and I couldn't physically tell another lie. And, he said that the only thing that mattered was telling the truth from then on forward, regardless of the consequences. And let's just say that's where I'm at, in a way. I'm not a liar, and I'm not chemically dependent on anything, but I have been part of a system for pretty much my whole life, or at least my whole professional life, since 1998. And the system is part of an overall global system that is damaging so many people and destroying the lives of so many. And so many hardworking people who trust what they've been told and blindly follow these slick talking people who have sharp suits and a creative sales pitch. And and these people are unfortunately just looking out for their own pocket and the pockets of their giant corporation that stands behind them. By no means am I saying that all people who work in these institutions are crooks, thieves, or greedy salespeople. Okay, there are plenty of hardworking people who deeply care about those they serve and who put the needs of their clients first. I mean, they're out there. Even in these organizations, even in the big organizations, they're out there. Unfortunately, these people are the anomaly. They're the ones who learn how their organization operates. They learn what it takes to serve their clients with integrity and transparency. They learn what your needs are and they set those needs as the number one priority. They figure out a way to operate outside of the norm. This usually takes those individuals making a commitment that they're going to work harder, they're going to be smarter, meaning educate themselves, and they're going to operate in a manner that's completely above reproach, meaning there's nobody that can approach that person and have an accusation toward the plan or the practice that they're providing in the public. So I'm not talking about those people, okay? Those people do exist, and they are like I said, the anomaly, but they do exist in big banks, big insurance companies, big investment firms. You should be able to spot these people, okay? These people that have integrity, these people that have the utmost of confidence when they approach you because they know that they're sincere and truthful. You should be able to approach these people. These people should be able to answer the tough questions when you ask, certain things like, how do you get paid? Where are the fees? What does this mean over the long term, not just the short term? They also should be able to pass a clean background check with any financial advisor, anybody that works for a bank or an insurance company. You should be able to look these people up on public forums. Every state insurance board or every state insurance department has a website you can visit and you can search for your particular person you're working with. You should be able to see that person's history. You'll see their employment history. You'll be able to see everything about this particular person. It's all public record. You just have to do your homework. And you wouldn't believe how many people I've been approached by and they've said, hey, Dean, I'm working with this person. Can you just look over this plan? And first thing I do is I broker check the person. The SEC has a broker check, FINRA has a broker check, and the insurance company or the Department of Insurance for each state has a broker check. So again, you should be able to spot the ones that are good to work with. You should be able to spot the ones that are bad to work with just by asking some good questions, looking that person in the eye, doing a little bit of homework before you meet or after you meet with them. And even if you know this person, even if they're a friend or a family who expects your unbridled trust, but if you're going to operate alongside this friend or family member in a professional manner, just do your homework and make sure that this friend or family member has a high level of integrity in the business place, even though they might have a high level of integrity in your personal relationship with them. It doesn't necessarily mean that's how they run their business. Bernie Madoff, for example, not to use an extreme set of circumstances, but the guy was trusted by everybody, okay? And what he was doing was totally shady. He ran the biggest Ponzi scheme on earth, and we all saw how that unfolded. So this channel is going to be all about exposing the inner workings of these organizations, giving you the tools and resources necessary to protect yourself and those you care for, and to help to paint for you a big picture of the broad scope of the financial services industry as a whole, allowing you to understand the ABCs of defending your finances. So stay tuned. I'll have many more videos that are going to follow up with each of these particular institutions, how they operate, the inner workings of them. And even if you work for one of these organizations, I want to encourage you to stay tuned, subscribe to this video so you can get maybe a perspective that you haven't been given by your manager or your recruiter or the person who you directly report to. Maybe the whole picture hasn't been painted for you and you need to have a little bit of a different perspective in order to protect the people that you care about. Because although maybe you do work for one of these organizations, it doesn't mean that you have to be one of the many who take advantage of their clients just out of ignorance because you didn't take the time to look into something a little more deeply versus what you were trained in the classroom or in the conference room. So I care about you guys a lot. I've seen how many people have really been torn apart by poor planning and poor salespeople who just were in it for their own pocketbook. And if you follow me, I want to give you all the tools necessary to make sure that you can defend your finances and make sure you are the smartest person sitting at any financial planning meeting. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you on the next video.